Hello, everyone. Welcome in this episode where I go a little bit deeper upon the book notes that you can take within your second brain and how to articulate your notes included upon that. And I want to go a little bit deeper upon building your own second brain based on the methods from Jim Quick. He mentioned there are 4 key concepts before actually start reading a book from start to finish for a technical book. So that's a knowledge book. And one of them is just skimming. Just look through the book for a couple of minutes. It's quite similar comparison to what you do in the library, if you still go to the library, but which is an option. Just like write down the stuff that you find noticeable, as in, so you're going actually like open up the page. Looks easy. Many pictures. Big letters. What else? Many quotes. Really depends upon what you notice. Could be anything. The challenge itself is to write that down and to see, as in, take it out of memory, basically. So you just read the stuff, camera. You just read the stuff. You read the book, then you put the book away, and then like, okay, what do I remember? Okay, this, a lot of images, a lot of this. I like the color, I like the style, I like this. Because with you training your memory, everything becomes way easier as a result of that. So this is one of the first steps that I personally do when reading a book. Good. And then you have the concept of speed reading. So this is you going over the whole book, actually like with a finger down the middle. So not actually reading in depth, but it is you noticing, is this something that I have a lot of questions about? What kind of words do I see? What makes sense, what doesn't make sense, just like very rapidly. So imagine with a standard book, if you spend approximately like 8 hours for one book, spending the time for one book, then at this moment choose for maybe 1 hour, like max. So 8 times the speed comparison to how you would normally read it, like really go over it quickly. You can select different chapters. In chapter 1 I saw commonplace book and I saw Da Vinci. Like, okay, those are the 2 that I don't understand yet in this content of building a second brain. Okay, what exactly does it mean? Well, now I know what it means, but in that moment I could not know this piece of information. Because the challenge thing is, if you're using this method, then you will be more skilled with enhancing this towards someone else. So like teaching this to someone else, because you understand the framework. So speed reading, and then writing down, what did I see, what did I notice, like go a little bit in depth. So write down the keywords. I think that's the biggest one. Speed reading, write down the keywords. And then the next page would be, you are closing this book again. You are thinking about this as in, yeah, but what exactly is the commonplace book? How is that connected to Leonardo da Vinci? How did Tiago Forte lean into this process? What is his personal story? What is his underlying motivation? How did he went into being this state? How did he build this up? What kind of quotes does he make? What kind of references does he make? Like all of these questions that are kind of popping up based on these two, skimming and speed reading, write those questions down. Because ask and it is given, in the idea of first you need to formalize the question itself, and then later on you can answer it. So that's a very powerful one there as well. So then you have a list of all of your actions. And then you continue with organizing the book. I know, for example, that Tiago Forte starts with his introduction, what motivates him at the beginning. And then I think the code already pops up, or first the capture and then the organization, and later on the distill and execute, the execute. So just organize it like that, as in what's the starting point, pieces of information, what kind of value does it give within that book, within the sources. Like organizing that based on what you've just stored and remembered. Like working from memory is a very important one because that's where the power is. Good. And if you've done that, then we're going to add a beautiful, beautiful new capture create. At this moment, no, look, that doesn't work just yet. Look, Notion, if you're seeing this, this is a feature that I'm missing. If I'm adding here, today. Now the function today actually works. In the other situation, it doesn't. Good. Let me just open this up fully so you can see this. And now you're going to write down 2C, 2 columns, capture, and create. So based on the book that you're reading at that moment, building a second brain, you're actually reading the book and then you're capturing the information that resonates to you as a person. You don't need to be in agreement with them or not, or like have a judgment upon that, but you're just capturing, okay, Tiago talks about code. Okay, what exactly is code? Code stands for him, capture, organize, distill, express. This is what stands for him code. Like you're capturing that piece of information. It could be that you have a completely different system and that it works perfectly for you. Amazing. And then you still write it down based on, this is kind of the key factor within this book, because you're studying the book. You're not learning from it as the only piece. You're studying how is the depth of Tiago Forte on this thing. How does he understand this? Especially later on, if you're reading if you're reading stuff like Neil Donald Walsh and very philosophical thinkers, or people that you don't agree with, or that you even feel a little bit repelled by, like that emotional reaction that most of us base our emotions upon that, or behavior. Let me say it differently. We act upon our behavior based on the emotions. So even then, actually, like capture the information how he perceives this. And then later on, this is connect to my own system. Could be that you have your own better working system. I do not want to use this one. As in, I do not want to use code. Could be. And this is the creation based on the information that you just received. This makes sure that every time that you're creating your notes, that you have a separation between this is the stuff that he said and this is the stuff that I've created or taught. This is my creation, this is my insight. Because quite often, me included in the past, and I'm probably still doing that, I'm really focused on the insight. What does that mean? Instead of capturing. Because later on, let's imagine that you actually have a conversation with Tiago Forte. Tiago, if you're seeing this, feel free. Then you can just go over your captions and go like, hey, Tiago, you just mentioned this thing and I understood this level out of it. Like, how do you see that happening? Or I personally see it in a different way. How would you connect those two? Or is that something that you resonate with my storyline as well? Because every one of us, even if you're not a public speaker or an author or a YouTuber or a content creator, every one of us wants to capture information and then have that insight upon that. And sharing that knowledge, that's where the value is. That's where our worlds are actually connecting. Our vibrational states are connecting. So, this was in short Capture and Create. And let's imagine that we go back. Go back. And if you have all of these nodes, then you could do a summary or an instructional workflow. And if you're making an instructional workflow, then it's based on this source. So capture, organize, distill, express, or execute. What is it? Express or execute? Well, basically the same thing. But this is also connected, for example, within Notion, to a project that you're working on. And in this case, it is building your life book. That's not a really good example. It would be more like building your own second brain. So then that means that this piece of information, as in the workflow, how you deal with information coming in, will be beneficial for you for that project. And now the project is building your own brain, your own second brain. Right now it's a little bit confusing perhaps because the book itself is also called because you have the book building a second brain and then you have your project. And your project is a project that you are working on yourself and you are creating that. And this instructional workflow is included upon that, how you deal with that. So all of these are very interconnected. And then I want to go to the project. And within that project, you would see Capture and Create from the information that you're receiving from that stuff. And then you're also seeing that instructional workflow. So it's quite nice how everything is a little bit interconnected. And this is also the power of your own second brain with the premise of you really don't need to remember things. You need to process information and make them your own being, without them being a part of you. And you need to think and remember and stuff like that. Because that's an old premise that we have been doing in the past. Good. I'm closing it off with this. It's a nice 15-minute video. I thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.